Hello and welcome to another YouTube video. So I just randomly thought one day, what about Linux on a PSP? And it turns out that there is a project that existed a long time ago that put Linux on the PSP. So yeah, that's really cool, and I would like to play around with that today. I suppose first things first is here's the 2 GB memory stick that was originally in my PSP that I then upgraded to a 128 GB micro SD card in an adapter. So what I will do, first and foremost, and hopefully everything will fit on this 2 GB micro SD card, or memory stick, sorry. It is 4:30 a.m. and I am very tired. There we go. First things first is formatting the memory stick. The format took no time at all because it is only a 2 GB memory stick. Let's see. There. See? 23 megabytes free. That's safe. And now we will see a return of the Dell Latitude D520 as the machine to get me to download the files for PSPLinux onto. Come on. There we go. You can focus. But yeah. I will be back very soon. Okay, so I have gone to this site, which I will link in the description, and I have downloaded basically everything I can. Some of the links are broken, and I'll need to figure out where best to get the stuff that is broken, but this is everything that I can get. So what we have is the folder that you actually put on the PSP, a config file for BusyBox, a config file for the kernel, a patch for the kernel, and then this is for the toolchain. And I will say, I'm actually not entirely sure how to use some of this stuff. The documentation that I have found is very sparse, so I assume that most of this will either be just like sort of messing around, seeing what I can find, or alternatively, there is a Google Groups that is linked on the homepage, which I will probably end up joining at some point, even though the last post is from 2018. I'll probably end up joining, seeing if I can get my join request approved, and then go from there. I will say, this toolchain makes it possible for me to compile other things for this system. So, yeah, that would be cool, because then, like, there's just a lot you could do with that. Let's see. Actually, I am going to... Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. 4.2.1 on the version of GCC, so I figured the most important thing might actually be creating a new cross-compilation environment for this. Because this is old, really old. I'd probably want at least GCC 8. So, that's just something that I'll have to work on at some point. Yeah, probably not in this video, but yeah. Supposedly there's also like a windowing system, multiple windowing systems available for it, but that's also something that I will need to investigate more. Maybe in this video, but probably not when I'm tired and not when it's 5 in the morning. Also, as you've probably noticed, I have wireless networking functioning on this computer now, and it's like, yeah, it works. But anyway, let's put just for now, let's just put this folder on the PSP. So I will go into settings and USB connection, which then puts it into USB mode, and boom, there we go. So this will go under PSP and then game, I think it is. So I'll just copy just PSPLinux over. And how big is this? 1.4 megabytes on the disk. Okay, so yeah, that is more than enough. Which honestly makes sense, because this PSPLinux, PSPLinux, however it's pronounced, is designed for systems that don't have MMUs. I have a friend who ported it to a Macintosh Plus, for instance. And yeah, so that makes sense that this is small, because it is designed for embedded systems and low-spec systems and things that generally don't have MMUs. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to eject the volume now. It is now safe to remove the drive, so I can unplug it. And then now, if I go over to games, and so this is from 2008, which far predates, actually, let me just go and show you. So I have 661 Pro C Infinity on my PSP. That's the jailbreak I have, is Pro C Infinity for 661. This is from 2008, which far precedes that, and so it's possible that it may not work because of that, but hopefully that is not the case. I don't actually know the compatibility of Homebrew. I know plugins are sort of iffy, but I don't know about Homebrew. So anyway, if we boot this up, hopefully we'll get something other than a crash. Oh, that's awesome. It actually works. Yeah, so let's see. And yeah, so it's actually booted into Linux, which is really cool. So apparently you can pull up a little like virtual keyboard. So like, which is pretty cool. Oh wow, this is an interesting keyboard. Yeah, so you hold down basically what you want. You hold down left, right, or both to select what you want, and then you use the joystick and then the triangle, circle, cross, square buttons. So anyway, let's see if I can get a directory listing. Let's see. Control-S, and then enter. And let you know, there we go. So, let's see. I'm curious. Do we have uname? Oh my god, we have uname. So let's just get uname-a. And here we go. Let's see. Linux kernel 2.6 compiled on Monday, February 18th, 5:41 Hong Kong time, 2008. MIPS is the processor architecture, which makes sense because this is PSP. So yeah, that's really cool. Let's do a directory listing of bin. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I really like this. This will be so cool to play around with more. I play around with it more right now, but I am very tired, and yeah, I should probably get some sleep before doing anything more with Linux on this. But this is such a cool thing, and I'm really happy that, like, I'm just really happy that, like, so far this has worked without a hitch. Let's see. What would be really fun is, oh, I have an idea. Well, okay, that didn't work. Yeah, so it was 3 p.m. 10 hours, basically, since I last filmed, and I got some sleep. So basically my idea was to try and run pfetch, which, is a screen fetch-like utility, that can run on basically any, POSIX compliant shell. Here's an example of the output. But, and then if I actually, go into dash, and, it still works, even though I'm not using bash, which most screen fetch utilities I've seen require bash. But, it doesn't work on here. This uses MSH. I looked up what MSH is, and there are a few different possible options for what it could be, but yeah, so basically whatever MSH it is, it isn't compatible with pfetch, or pfetch isn't compatible with it. So that's when I thought, why not try and compile dash? I have a cross-compilation environment, and yeah, so I downloaded dash source. It's been a long time since I've actually compiled anything. Another idea that I just had is fast fetch, which I think is written in C. I'll need to see what let's see, can I see what dependencies there are? Building. Oops. Let's see. Okay, so, that's pretty cool. Wow, I probably don't need any of this stuff. So yeah, let's download fast fetch as well, see if I can get that compiled. Download zip. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and start seeing if I can remember how to compile stuff from where I am. Especially because I've never actually used a cross-compilation environment before. I've always compiled stuff natively. But yeah, I'll be back when I have any sort of update. So I think I'm going to call it for this video, just because getting software compiled for this is turning out to be a much more in-depth thing than I initially thought. And I think that it would actually be a good live stream or something, rather than just me doing everything off screen, because you know, it just seems like something that would be interesting to watch, especially because I really don't know much about this sort of thing, so it would be ultra interesting to see me fumble around, I feel. But yeah, so I'm going to call it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. The whole idea of Linux on the PSP is super interesting, and as you saw, we have a fully working Linux environment, and I was actually playing around with it a little off camera, and there's some extra interesting features that I didn't initially see. So let's get this booted up. So we have this, right? Select allows you to choose between sitting at your keyboard, but also mouse. And there's console mouse thing that you can use, and you know, I know for a fact that there are graphical environments for this, which means that you could have a full graphical environment with a mouse. And also, another thing that I found interesting was, I think it's... here it is, yes. The volume buttons allow you to choose between virtual consoles, which is another very interesting thing that I didn't realize that this had initially. And I'm just gonna, this is something about, a UART driver. Makes me wonder if, it almost has to be the USB port. Can act as a, serial port. But yeah, that's something that I will need to investigate further at a later time. But yeah, I am very happy with the fact that this just sort of worked out of the box, and I look forward to playing around with this more. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing day.